Hey everybody, welcome to We're All Geeks. This is our 6th episode, and today our focus is going to be on Gamescom. But before we dive into that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Kenny.
I'm Sterling.
I'm Felipe.
Alright guys, so let's just get right into it. Gamescom is going to have, for the first time, opening night live, which is where we're going to get most of the announcements at the show. It's the first time they've done this. It's being done by Jeff Keighley. He does, of course, the Game Awards.
Game Awards, yep.
Kind of a big deal this time around. Like they're not really messing around. There's a list of publishers there. I've heard as many as 15 announcement world premieres are going to be at this show. The companies that are going to be there: 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bungie, Capcom, EA, Epic, Google Stadia, Koch Media / Deep Silver, Private Division, Sega, Square Enix, Sony, THQ Nordic, Ubisoft, Xbox Game Studios. So all the heavy hitters are there.
True, but how many of those, because you know what they say, like always, we're going to have 15 world premieres. For most of those companies, we already know everything that they're going to be talking about.
We probably know, so go ahead.
No, I totally have a feeling it's going to be like how Xbox is like, yeah, at E3 we're going to have world premieres, and it's a bunch of like indie studios nobody's ever heard of, and they show 2 seconds.
You know, which is fine, but it's a
like,
little misleading of like, hey, we're going to have 15 world premieres, and here's seriously like you said, a bunch of these indie games. I'm hoping that it's not all that. There probably will be. Gamescom is what this? Do you think it's the second biggest?
Yeah,
trade show
I would go
right
second.
Now?
I'll go E3, Gamescom.
I mean, E3 is the first. Gamescom. I mean, the Tokyo Game Show.
I would probably have Game Awards after Gamescom and then TGS.
Yeah.
If I had to rank them.
No, TGS
and that's a year that PSX isn't happening because they usually announce really big stuff at PSX.
Because usually at Gamescom that there is some big announcements, and then the Game Award, it's just. I mean, that's when a lot of times though you get the whole like, yeah, we got all these premieres, and like, what is this? What is this garbage we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we have some potential for some really great stuff to see. You know, I mean, I'm just gonna go like right off the top of my head what I think. I bet Sony will like use this as their like official announcement of the PlayStation, like their huge thing.
PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I think it'll be it because like I can almost guarantee, even though PlayStation did really well, I feel like they missed out not doing it at E3, and then Microsoft did it. So I think
I can see that.
I think this will be like their thing, like kind of planned for a year, because a lot of people like having that notice before the console comes out, and I don't think they want to do it at E3. I think at E3 next year might be too late for them.
Yeah, no, it definitely will happen, I think, before E3 of next year.
But I think it's the PS4 announcement. I think it's before E3. They get to own that cycle for a while.
I still believe that it won't be there, that it would be like sometime next year after this year's holidays gone by, where everyone has their last chance to buy, you know, the PS4 Standard or Pro, and then Sony does their own thing. It's just them. They talk all, you know, PS5. It's an hour and a half, a 2-hour, you know, event. But you bring up a good point of, I wasn't expecting Microsoft to do this, and I remember even talking about, you know, like after this thing happened at E3, how like they're shooting themselves on the foot for announcing this, because now people are like, well, we'll just wait though until next year for the next console. But now that Microsoft did it, I could see, you know, Sony, they could go a little reactionary, be like, you know what, yeah, we'll do what Microsoft did, and just like, yeah, next year we'll have more information about it. You know, be a little more vague, but at least say like, because as far as we know, we're all expecting it to come out next year, but they haven't officially said anything, where Microsoft kind of was the first out the gate, say like, nope, it is coming out next year, and we'll talk more about next year.
Yeah, and so I think it's just for them to kind of subdue anybody saying, well, like, we don't know what PlayStation's really doing. You know, kind of like build up hype, say, hey, we're working on it, and then at E3, you know, at their show before E3, they just get to run it. They get to show off everything awesome about the PlayStation and really set the pace for next E3 versus Xbox. Because, I mean, we know we know what PlayStation, we know what Xbox did already, and so like if they show anything else, it's kind of gonna just be like, all right, we already have some of that info. If PlayStation's like, look, we're doing this, and then they get first shot at E3, it's going to be hard for Xbox to like make sure they're prepared for that.
I can see both of them doing the same thing, or like before. I know we're kind of getting off topic because we're going to be talking about Gamescom, but like I can see them getting this stuff out the door, having their own events where they show, the interface, and they show like, here's what it's going to look, and then on E3, like, hey, boom, now this is all, PS4, PS5 games, or next generation console, or what have you. But what do you think chances of like some Last of Us getting some information?
That's the question.
Or that Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that.
I remember Ghost of Tsushima was announced at Paris Games Week. So Sony is not afraid to go really big at European conferences. If you didn't know, Gamescom is in Cologne, Germany. So they could go huge there, and I don't think they do though. We know Kojima's there, so we know for sure that Sony Interactive Entertainment, who's actually listed there, not just Sony, they're bringing that Last of Us. Or no, not Last of Us. Death Stranding. I can't get my PlayStation exclusives. There's just so many of them.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's just so many of them.
I'm outnumbered. Calm down. Being an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, also, and we're gonna move on to the other publishers in a bit, but Sony wasn't at this year's E3, so they could. This is the things, like, they could now. Last of Us release dates and maybe talk about Ghost of Tsushima, but other than those two, like, since we already know when Death Stranding is coming out, there's no other like PlayStation exclusives really.
Not yet. Yeah.
And that's why I think they're just going to take this time, because I mean, from what I remember, and I might be misremembering, but they don't have a full conference set up as Sony Entertainment, so I think they might just like have just a quick like, this is kind of our previews for next year. Like, we are gearing up to go to war next year. Yeah. Like, Xbox is not going to get ahead of us. We're just, amassing everything we can, kind of a thing.
What do you think some of the other, though, like some of the other,
so
like, sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I think it's possible that we get, like, what Sony's going to do. But because it's Sony Interactive Entertainment, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought out something for their VR.
Yeah,
to make it bigger and try to step into that game first.
That's very possible. And if they're going to do any hardware, I hope it is something VR hardware
like
related.
VR 2.0 type thing.
Yeah, because I was talking about this with someone the other day. I don't trust Sony with anything that doesn't have a number behind it. If they put a number behind VR, I will finally believe they're going to see it
to
through.
Keep going. Yeah,
because the Vita wasn't the PSP 2, and it ended up collapsing.
The Vita, yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P. Vita.
Right.
Viva Vita Island.
Yeah.
Viva La Vita.
But just there's some of the other bigger companies. I wanted to bring up like Bungie. Like, what do you think?
Bungie's definitely got their new expansion.
Shadowkeep,
yeah,
right?
Shadowkeep.
They got delayed.
That got delayed to October. This would still be in time even if they hadn't delayed it.
Yeah, but still, it's like...
I don't know. I mean, Bungie has fully separated themselves from Activision now, right? So I would think... I don't know. They might wait till E3 to announce whatever they're going to do after Destiny, because Destiny and Destiny 2 are kind of done. I feel like they've really run their course. I mean, they have their faithful fan base that still plays, but they don't have the outreach that I think they were hoping for.
I think now that they're out, that there definitely will be a Destiny 3. Because they said they were going to they have like a 10-year plan and what have you, but I can see whatever the next iteration of Destiny is as, okay, now this is our game that we wanted to make. So
yeah, and
if that one doesn't really... Because I just don't see them like kind of scrap. It's like, no, we're making another game, and what would that even be?
I would think that Bungie wants to make it as like platform friendly as possible.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like if you play Destiny 1 and like their expansion, from what from what everyone heard, Activision told them to set it up as DLC, and they wanted to make it all part of the original game.
Right.
So I could totally see like Bungie just going hard on this one, saying we are a great game studio, we're not held back, we don't need somebody overlooking our shoulder. So I hope whatever comes out of Bungie looks great and does well. I don't know if it'll be a Destiny 3. It might be something completely different, something awesome in storytelling instead of like kind of a looter shooter. So
the reason why I bring that up is that they've been very adamant about like, no, we have a 10-year plan, we have a 10-year plan, and blah blah blah, and we're just gonna keep making Destiny, and so we'll see. I would be completely surprised if they, not even at Gamescom, but like in the next couple of years or something like that,
for like the console wars.
They're like, oh, here's this other game we're making. I'm like, what? That'd be crazy. But Destiny, when it first came out, it was okay, and then they would do DLC that would like make it that much better. And they did the same thing with Destiny 2. It was like, it was okay, it was better than the first one, and then they did DLC that now made it so much better. So I feel like maybe they're finally getting into a rhythm. Like, you know what? Now we're just gonna make this that we don't have to worry about DLC, or we don't have to worry about all this other stuff. That is just hopefully be a great game from
they're
the
not
outset.
held back by themselves or any kind of publisher watching them.
I agree. I don't think it's Destiny 3. I don't think they announced that and just absolutely take a shotgun to Shadowkeep.
Yeah, because
that kills that so
it's
fast.
the same thing of like announcing anything. I mean, I could see them being like, yeah, Shadowkeep's coming soon, but here's a preview for the next thing coming. Like, so the same, still Destiny 2 DLC, but Shadowkeep leads into this. It could be like the final whatever, the final DLC or the final leg of Destiny 2 as they maybe prepare for Destiny 3.
So I would think they want to have something prepared for next year, and I think they would want to take it now to like get it hyped up. So like even just a name for something to happen at E3. I feel like Gamescom, a lot of times what happens is they give you little bits, but then they can preview for what happens at E3 and get you excited. And I personally, I haven't watched a ton of Gamescoms, but the couple I have seen has prepared for the E3 and just kind of like gets momentum going for the next year, kind of what to be on the lookout for that company. And that's unfortunately what happens to me as kind of a casual gamer. Like E3 is what I watch. I don't watch the rest. So we'll see. I would be excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for what Bungie has to offer, because I mean I loved Destiny and Destiny 2, but like I feel like for me the flame like died out very quick. Like I got in, I was really excited, and then it was just gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you pull up the list again because I forget everyone, but I know that one of them was THQ Nordic, which is I think the wild card because I sometimes they have some out of the blue games, and sometimes they have just some other stuff. Like, are they the ones that are doing like that Biomutant game that?
I would actually have to double check on that because there is some news. They did announce the special editions and stuff, and it looks like Biomutant is finally actually happening instead of being said is happening.
Yeah, because that was the next thing I was gonna bring up. Is like, man, I feel like I've seen stuff about this game, and they've shown more stuff about it. There's even people that have played some demos and stuff like that, and then nothing. And I thought that this game was going to be out by now, or it was going to be out by like September of this year. And
Biomutant is THQ Nordic, so this could be them. I was also thinking THQ Nordic. They are the Darksiders. They got the new one coming up.
That Genesis.
Yeah, the Genesis that they're bundling one version with a board game that's only ever going to be released in the special edition. THQ Nordic definitely has some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, because they picked up because it used to be THQ Rest and Soul was something else.
Yep, and then they went out of business. They were the guys who made all the WWE games. They were behind Saints Row.
Like, there was that news that came out where they did a investor call.
Yeah, there was an investor call, and
they talked about there's a new Saints Row in development.
Deep in development, apparently.
Yeah.
So that could be
This could be one of them.
THQ owns a lot of stuff, and at one point they said they had like over, it was like 200 or 300 things in active development, and everyone was like, "You don't have 200 or 300 studios, no, you don't."
So then, if THQ has that possibility, and based off of the other companies that are there, do you think not just like THQ, but Gamescom as a whole is going to try and like push for some news that makes it rival E3?
I mean, they always, I feel like they try, and also a lot of times they're playing to different audiences. Sometimes, you know, like the E3 is the main one. You know, it's where everyone gets the biggest spotlight.
Everyone gets the USA Today vertical.
Right. And so, but then Gamescom, sometimes they'll do more like, a good example is EA will do more like Madden over here, but then when they do Gamescom, they do more FIFA, because FIFA is just a much bigger deal in Europe than it is here in the States. And just like some companies here will do more kind of mainstream stuff during E3 at Tokyo Game Show, Games Week, I always forget, TGS, they will do more like, you know, some niche RPG or some other stuff that plays very well over there, but maybe for, you know, Western audiences, not as much. And so they kind of play to their strengths. And so a lot of those developers, what they are, like European developers and stuff like that, or a lot of them are more centered towards that stuff. That's why I love it, because you see some other stuff that usually doesn't get that much coverage at E3, but then at Gamescom is like the main thing.
And it's usually deeper cuts, because it is us watching it. It's not it's not the USA Today stuff. All right, Sony just announced this huge new game.
It's not just the Call of Duty.
It's not just the Call of Duty. Granted, Call of Duty is announced as having something at the opening.
Right, Activision is there, so
Activision is there, and
you kind of see that coming.
Yeah, and I think on Jeff Keighley's Twitter today, I was seeing something. Call of Duty has something. We also know from EA we're at least getting Need for Speed Heat. That was announced this week with a cinematic trailer. Now we are going to be seeing gameplay there. Yeah. So we know that. Does EA have anything else? Maybe some Jedi Fallen Order.
You know what I miss about my racing games? Racing.
Right?
Yeah. I wish I just had a racing game that could just race and I'd like change the world.
What, Need for Speed Underground 2? You're saying like that's the primo?
I just want to race, and now like you watch that trailer and it's like some Miami Vice stuff, just like, you know, you fight. I'm gonna fight against the power by racing. I'm like, you're not sure. Cool. Whatever story you want to tell me, I just want to race. If it's a good racer, I'll listen to whatever BS you're trying to tell me.
You think Fast and Furious kind of ruined that then? Ruined a lot.
Even Fast and Furious ruined itself. They saved the world. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here about how many times Fast and Furious saved the world.
But it's so similar versus like, you know,
very much
in Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, you were just racing to be like the king of the racers, but then like I don't know if it was Carbon or Most Wanted, but like after that, like you started like taking on companies and like taking over things instead of just that. So it's kind of like, all right, I mean, you still have some stuff that I love, and like this is great, but what is this?
Yeah, I know.
Whose fault is this?
Pretty good, yeah. So, that's exactly like it.
Yeah, it still has not gotten better than Midnight Club 2 Dub Edition.
You know,
Midnight
I just
Club
race,
LA is probably one of the most rage-inducing games I've ever played. And like, I watched a buddy play one time, and this dude has like the worst luck with all games, but he was doing a pink slip race on a motorcycle, and like if you crash, you're just done. Like the game, the race is lost. Well, he was going, and I remember watching, like we were just taking turns, and he was going, and an SUV literally spawned like on top of him. So like he lost the pink race. It was like his last bike.
I'm done with this game.
Sorry, that's just a funny little anecdote of Midnight Clubs.
So let's go down the list again. 2K, Borderlands.
Borderlands is, comes out in a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are they gonna give us more?
More gameplay.
Are they gonna?
Yeah, I mean, because even like it was this week that they finally showed something about the flak, which is like their beast.
Last week we actually discussed this a little bit. Last week,
how they barely had barely announced it when we recorded. But I know that today, when we're recording this, that they just dropped like a bunch of gameplay for him and stuff like that. So
yeah, and they released, and I think it was today they released the Borderlands Is Yours trailer, kind of about just different things, little peeks. So I'm sure a lot of those Borderlands channels that have been getting the exclusives and like the gameplay and stuff like that are probably like they are breaking that down to see what happens.
I mean,
more.
they could announce a new, almost say a new game mode, but it could be like, hey, we have a raid, or we have this, or we have some other cool thing that they haven't really talked about, because the game comes out in a month. So
what I was going to mention is I believe the previews embargo went up today as of recording as well. So. But what I'm curious about is, have we seen any gameplay of like multiple characters together, not just multiplayer?
So that was the commercial today. It was play with your friends, and it was a split screen.
Okay.
So that was on the trailer today.
I watched the video of someone playing with the flak, and they had other, like they had the Zane, and then Mose, I think is the name of the other, the girl that's like the soldier that she has like the mech. Okay. Yeah. So. I mean, they're showing stuff. They've talked, some about the story. They've shown the ship, Sanctuary. I don't know. I could see just more, or maybe some new game mode.
Maybe we'll see more on the locations, because that was like one of the first things they said in the first trailer was like travel to the different planets.
Right.
So we might see like exactly how you do that, or there's like a hub, kind of like how Destiny did it, where you had like. You had the Traveler, and then you traveled between the different places. So maybe we'll see that. I mean, I'd be really interested, because I'm really excited for Borderlands 3.
It's almost here.
I've loved every one of the Borderlands.
It's on
the pre-sequel was a little weak for me, but it still had enough that it was fun.
I'm super hyped up for this one. Who's next?
Activision. So we kind of agreed earlier, this is COD, right?
I could see, out of everyone there, I could see Activision being one of the ones that has, one or two new games, because they...
I mean, Activision's huge.
They're the biggest, I think, on the list, if not the biggest in general, but...
Yeah, I'll go ahead and accept that.
Yeah, right?
Maybe like the final DLC for like Call of Duty.
For Black Ops 4?
For Black Ops 4, leading
could
into
be, could
it.
be something like
something simple, preparing for
here's this
Modern
thing
Warfare.
as Modern Warfare comes out in October. I was trying to think if there's any games that they announced at E3 that we really don't know too much about. Okay, well, before we get to that, do you think any of the games... At E3, there were some games that were just like either a name or barely like some 30-second trailer. Do you think we see more of any of those games?
Yes.
So
like the Tales games or...
the Tales, Bandai Namco, yes, that is absolutely...
I bet those smaller ones, they're going to dive deep. I bet from Xbox we'll see some actual Gear 5
we
5,
have to.
Gameplay. I mean, they're releasing it this year. I feel like it'd be foolish not to release gameplay.
It's in less than a month. It's in 3 weeks, because it's like September 3rd, I think.
So they better release some gameplay for Gears 5.
I mean, they have, to be fair to them, they have, but it's always this weird balance of like, do we show some stuff when the game is so close to coming out? When the game is like Gears and Borderlands and some of these games that are going to be coming out in less than a month or in about a month, it's like, how much time do they really devote to trying to hype up this game that's about to release, which could be a fantastic thing, like, hey man, look at all this cool stuff, and this game is almost out, versus this game is already going to be coming out, so we're good with that. Here's all this awesome stuff to get you hyped up for the new thing coming out later.
I mean, you're right. That's the fine balance. I'm glad I'm not in charge of that.
Right.
Because I would mess it up. I'd just be like, look at our stuff that we have. I'd be so excited about look at our gameplay, look at our characters. It's so great,
much.
So I mean that's what I do. But I honestly, none of the Gears 5 gameplay has really lasted with me. And the E3 trailer was weird. It was just I mean, the daughter, just her face moving into different people. And so it was like
they talked about how they had different months, and this month was going to be multiplayer, and this month was going to be this, and this month's going to be campaign. So I don't know. It could be just a final trailer showing some other stuff. Gears is done. Gears is
it went gold. They officially announced it is gold.
The game is done. It's just a matter of time now.
As done as an internet connected consoles.
How about this? This game's going to get stamped on a disc and shipped out.
Yes.
And then they'll patch it.
And then they'll patch it, and it will take 12 hours.
Then because it's an Xbox game, once you put the disc in, you have to wait like 45 minutes before you can even play.
Xbox, that was such a bad decision.
Yeah.
I went fully digital for that reason. Like, why do I have a disc if I need to download anyways? Like, it just didn't make any sense to have a disc.
Our glorious future. Who's next?
Bandai Namco. So we talked a little bit about Tales.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some more on Tales. I
think this guy might make an appearance. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Yeah. They got that coming on the way. Last week we were talking about at Evo. They released Janemba last week. They could talk about Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. There's a lot of stuff. But yeah, Bungie. We're looking at Destiny stuff for Shadowkeep. We kind of went over this.
Do you think they'll do anything else other than Destiny, Shadowkeep?
They might do like just a different style of game. So maybe like going back. Maybe their next game will be, Destiny 3, but perhaps they're just going to create like a different branch of game entirely, so that they can release one or the other.
That implies they don't have all hands on deck on Destiny though, and that's my question, because are they a 2-team studio?
No.
Are they Naughty Dog back when they were double shipping Uncharted and Last of Us? I don't know that they are. I think they are all on one mission: steer this boat this way. In my opinion. Next up is actually my most interesting, Capcom. What do they have? Isn't Iceborne out already?
So no, Iceborne is going to be out in September. So it's not going to be out by the time that Gamescom their thing here happens in a couple of days. But they've already shown a ton.
Yeah, they've shown so much of it. So I think they probably bring some of it.
They definitely will, because it's not out yet, and Monster Hunter World, as it stands right now, is the best-selling Capcom game of all time. And that's insane when you think about
Mega Man,
Street Fighter, Resident Evil, like some of these kind of bigger mainstream things.
Power Stone.
I said mainstream. Calm down.
Power Stone, the Dreamcast game, guys.
But like something, when you think about something like Resident Evil, where they have like multiple movies, but they also have multiple games. That Monster Hunter World, this game that kind of, I won't say came out of nowhere, but I remember before it came out, people were like, "Oh, it's just a Monster Hunter game," and I don't know.
It did what Anthem wanted to do.
Yeah, and it came out, and people were like,
came out of nowhere, but it actually succeeded.
So I mean, people that already played Monster Hunter were like, "No, yeah, this is a good game. You should play it." But man, I remember I never played a Monster Hunter game, and I have like over 100 hours into World, and I'm super excited for Iceborne. I just don't know what else do they.
See, yeah, I joked earlier, but they were talking to a Capcom exec, and he said, a Power Stone game would be awesome on Switch. And I said, you know what? A Power Stone game would be awesome on Switch. Are you hinting at something? Please be hinting at something.
A Power Stone game would be awesome. Full stop.
Do you think Capcom is the kind of company that adds something on to Monster Hunter World?
Well, Iceborne.
Iceborne is the add-on to it. My understanding is that Iceborne is going to be like the that you need to have Monster Hunter World itself, and then Iceborne is DLC. Like you need to have the base game to play the other one. Yeah, it's an expansion. So, but even to the point of like, if you're buying they're going to do like what Destiny does, where if you're buying the physical disc for it, you're going to get a disc of Monster Hunter World and a code for Iceborne.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, it would be really out of left field, but it would make me chuckle if they did a trailer for their movie, the Monster Hunter movie.
I mean, there is a trailer out for it. It's not out. I saw someone like recorded it. I forget where, but it was previewed somewhere. I don't know if it was like Comic-Con or something, but someone had like cell phone footage of the movie.
So this could be the actual debut.
That could be that. I mean, that would be cool.
That would be an interesting choice.
Well, the movie's coming out.
I mean,
Ubisoft did that with Assassin's Creed at E3. This is much less stupid than that.
You know what? You got me there. That's
yeah. Well, because when you think too, it's like This is the audience of people
forgot
that
about the Assassin's Creed movie.
this is the audience
Oh
of
my
people that really want this. You know, they're fans of the game. Here's a trailer. Now, won't speak to the quality of the trailer because you know they could drop them like, oh, this is some hot garbage. Great, and but the little bit that I saw, it looks like they're very faithful to the game. So, campiness all the way.
Cool. Now, Capcom, there's so much I would love from Capcom. Like, I would love more
Street Fighter movie.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll take it. I'll go watch it. But
when they're just fighting and not like they all have their own alter egos or own like personality doing some. But also I happen to fight. I'm like, no, don't make you like I'm a reporter, but I also am super good at kung fu. I'm like, what? No, just like Mortal Kombat. Like, no, we just fight. The first movie, anyways. We'll just fight, bring it all in, and we'll fight. Cool.
Yeah, supposedly, sorry, just a little side note. Supposedly they're working on a new Mortal Kombat movie.
And James Wan is producing. I'm down.
Yeah.
Well, they said it was going to be like Deadpool, so we'll see how it turns out. I thought that was really interesting to make a Mortal Kombat like Deadpool. I don't know how they have like the comic behind that, like the comic capabilities.
Yeah, Johnny Cage is the lead
but
character.
he's basically it. Like it's Johnny Cage. So what? I don't.
But the thing with Mortal Kombat, again, we're gonna keep going on this tangent real quick. But like with Mortal Kombat 11, like if you and even 10, when you play the story mode, like they have
9. Go back to
right?
the reboot on PS3.
Just Mortal Kombat. They have a story that, and if they do something like that, that's fine because they've already established that. I always remember that I went to the theater to watch the Street Fighter movie, and man. I loved it because I was a kid, but watching it later,
I was a youngin when I watched that one. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, okay,
see,
cool.
What they tried to do, they tried to do one, I mean, like 10 or 11 years ago.
The Legend
with
of Chun-Li.
Yeah, and that one.
Maybe I'll watch that tonight because I hate myself. So.
That movie, it's very bad and stars the two best people in Shameless at the same time. Or no, that was Dragon Ball.
That was Dragon Ball. That was Dragon Ball.
Mixed up.
Also,
Dragon. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, awful movie. Awful movie. The game's that's all right.
Well, which Dragon Ball? You know what?
Dragon Ball
there's
Evolution.
too many.
Dragon Ball FighterZ was the best game that released the day it released.
Yeah, the last Dragon Ball game I played was Xenoverse 2. So
it released the same day as Monster Hunter World.
Okay, you know what? That's it.
All right, you know what? We got to be back on track. Who's next after Capcom?
Electronic Arts. We covered FIFA, Need for Speed, Heat.
Probably
maybe
more
Fallen Order.
Maybe. I hope so. I want to see more of that game. At the same time, I don't. But what I'm hearing is people who have actually played the game, played the E3 demo, that it is much more Metroid-like, and you get to go and pick the planets you go to and stuff instead of
just following along.
Instead of it, that looked like an Uncharted game, which I was very excited for. But that looked like Uncharted with lightsabers, and the people are saying that's not what it really was. And they did release some stuff afterwards too, but like
that would kind of be crazy if it was almost like a Metroidvania style, like, or you do a thing and like now you have this other ability, so now this on this other planet or this other thing that you couldn't reach before, now you have this ability.
I honestly hope it's not like that because after playing Breath of the Wild, which was like the truly, open world game where you could go and anywhere and choose your path, so like I like that option more. I don't like the rail system that the game follows and says it's open world, but you still have to follow the actual direction. So I hope that there's that difference. I mean, like it would be nice, if they told you what abilities you got at each planet, so you could be like, oh, that one sounds good, and then like you go and learn. So maybe there's just like a Jedi temple where you go and like find a holocron or whatever and learn an ability.
Yeah, I don't know that they would go
full Metroid. I don't think so either. I don't think that fits what they're trying to do. That's just not.
I mean, I can see just like you're going in, and then once you kill a guy, you unlock whatever other ability. But I don't think that it's let me rephrase it. I could see them being like, hey, there's different. You pick where you want to go, but the order itself doesn't matter. It's more like, hey, I'll do this one here because this one, as just an example, whatever. Like this one gives me double jump, but that doesn't mean that. If I do this other planet first and then I get there, there's going to be a spot where I need a double jump to be able to do it. Most of the time with games like that, it just gives you some sort of combat or like talent where it may make certain fights easier. So maybe almost like a Mega Man style. Like, you go this way first to get this thing, because when you get to this other boss or this other section,
that would be legit.
It's gonna make it easier.
I want that.
I could see it being like that, but
that would be great. I would be down for that kind of that style where choose.
But when they do things like that, why not just everyone's gonna eventually know this is the correct
they'll
path.
Follow the path.
This is the path you should do. So why don't you just make it like that? But we'll see. I'm excited for it. The game comes out in a few months, so maybe we'll learn more about it.
Same day as Pokemon.
I could honestly see them doing. They have spots on the worlds where you need a certain ability to go get like something extra, like kind of lightsaber crystal or an outfit. Like you need the certain abilities.
I wonder how much, if this game is going to be like a, because as it stands right now, I feel like this game is going to be like an Uncharted game.
Yeah, and
or just here you go, which is fine. Uncharted games are fantastic.
I'm so down for that, and it would make me laugh if they're making an Uncharted style
right. You just
Star
have to
Wars
have a lightsaber,
and then they fired Amy Hennig trying to make that.
So
that would entertain me. Next up, we have Epic Games. This could be anything. I mean, there's probably going to be a Fortnite thing, but they're a storefront now.
But they just released season 10 of Fortnite.
Right.
So I have no idea what they would add on to Fortnite that they wouldn't already put in season 10.
I mean, I could see it being like, because there's been controversy, but like they've been snatching up, exclusives. So I could see
from
them
on their PC storefront.
Yeah, so that it could be not specifically like, hey, this is Epic, a game that Epic Studios is making, but like, no,
this
we
is
have the Epic Store, blah blah blah, exclusive to the Epic Store, blah blah blah, exclusive to the Epic Store.
Yeah, I mean, because speaking of a game we already talked about, they've already snatched up. I mean, Borderlands 3 to be exclusive before Steam.
6 months exclusivity.
Yeah, I mean, it's not till like next year that you can get it off of Steam. So,
and then there was something else that came out. Was that Oblong?
Yeah, Urblitz.
Yes.
Urblitz, which they just, the reason they're notable is because of how they said it. Hey, we're going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive. Here's why you need to not be mad at us. And then proceeded to like insult everyone who was going to be mad at them anyways, even though it's stupid. All right, PC gamers, get the hell over it, because you're just suffering the same thing we did, except you don't have to turn on a different machine to get your games.
Welcome to the console wars.
Yeah, I mean, like as a double gamer, PC and Xbox, I'm kind of just like, well, I chose PC games so I didn't have to deal with this, and now
it's a PC civil war is what it is. It's not console wars. It's like
you know what? That's a good way to put it. It's a civil war.
And
why can't we all just play nice? We all just want to play games.
I mean,
games are happy times. Let's just play nice.
Does it matter where you get your TurboTax?
Can I get it on my PlayStation? Can I get some trophies for it? Because I'll do my taxes on my PlayStation.
Is that how we're gonna do it? Is that how you make sure taxes are done? You give achievements and trophies?
Yeah. Then I'll make sure that I'll do them.
You filed your taxes for 10 years. Here's a platinum trophy.
I do it all the time. A wink.
That's why you're the chief trophy officer. So yeah, after Epic, Google Stadia. Man, do I not know what the hell they're doing.
I don't know. They're supposed to be releasing the Stadia in November.
Yeah, so maybe an exact date, maybe an exclusive. They do have the
probably a big exclusive. I can see that.
I mean, they got
so much an
Baldur's
exclusive, but like
they got Baldur's Gate, for sure. But they're not really a publisher. They're the one that's weird here.
Well, yeah, they're the one new one, and so like they could show us exclusive games. They could show us something cool about the Stadia. They could show like you could get Stadia on like
maybe
through the PC, not necessarily through like a specific part.
Maybe they'll show an exclusive game.
The PC.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Already, it's
right.
You just go to the Google Chrome.
Sorry, I was mixing it up with the Xbox thing that they were doing.
Yeah. No, I could see them doing like an exclusive game. Like that could happen. Just like. I mean, it never really came to fruition yet, but like Amazon snatched up a bunch of people and they have their own game studio. Right. They're making a game and stuff like that. Like I could see them like, oh yeah, and then there's this game that we're announcing or whatever, and you can only play it here.
All right. Next up, Koch Media / Deep Silver. Again, I don't even know.
Deep Silver does some cool stuff.
They definitely do, but like,
so I could see like a new project of because every now and then. Do you think, so how many publishers did we go through? Do we have 15 publishers? Do you think every single one of them will have a new one?
I think we're at
1, 2,
10.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're at 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 8 more.
Okay, so theoretically, at least one new game from, I won't say, I guess some of the bigger ones could definitely, I could see a new one from EA, a new one from Activision and stuff like that. But like skipping Bungie, skipping some of these other maybe smaller ones that we know what they're going to be talking about. I could see like one apiece, since they said there's going to be at least 15 world
15
premieres.
world premieres was I don't know if it was a rumor or an official statement, because it doesn't say that anywhere on their official page.
So, you forgive my casualness, but which games has it's Deep Silver?
Deep Silver, they've just done an eclectic amount of stuff. They technically did Dead Island at one point.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They
That was one of the things that also came out, but their Dead Island 2 is definitely still in the works.
It's definitely still being made and got moved.
And it was announced like 4 years ago now?
Yeah,
5 years ago?
I want to say it was at that first PS4 E3.
No, that would make it like 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Something like that.
It was many years ago, and a lot of people have been waiting for this
A
game.
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, that was announced. Now, Deep Silver, they've done a lot of stuff, and I really don't know. They have a handful of like licenses. They're a weird one.
They're kind of like almost like the THQ stuff, where they have a lot of stuff that they publish from a bunch of other houses, and it's hard to pin them down, but that could be one where out of the blue, here's this game. It's like, oh, boom.
I think they did a couple of the Saints Rows.
That sounds right, yeah.
Like Deep Silver's just weird.
Yeah, because Deep Silver and Volition.
Yeah, we're real buddy for a while. So, yeah, I don't know there. Private Division, Outer Worlds.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's them.
That's that's it.
That so far, Private Division, if you don't know, is supposed to be Take-Two's like boutique game developer. Like they go and specifically find creators that they want to work with to make great games. So they're like their boutique art house joints.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that I can think of is Outer Worlds.
And that one's also out later this year, and it's another Fallout.
It's got a lot of hype behind it. Obsidian doing this one, their last game before they're exclusive to Microsoft, pretty much. So that one could end up being interesting at Private Division for sure. Sega, Persona 5 Royal.
Welcome to Persona Corner.
Welcome to Persona Corner.
No, just kidding.
And we're back.
Just kidding.
I'm not kidding. I think that's what they're going to have.
They probably showed something.
I'm theory out of like left corner. It's a new Sega Genesis.
Sure.
Okay.
Just a new console. You know.
There is that other Persona, but that's Atlas. There's that Persona.
Atlas is owned by Sega.
Okay, so
this
they could
is
show,
all in the realm.
They could show Royal for sure, but also they have that beat 'em up Persona game coming out
by not Ninja Theory.
The people that do the Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah.
The name escapes me.
What kind of game is that called? It's escaping me. It's not a dungeon crawler.
A fun game.
Hack and slash.
Yes.
Yeah, hack and slash
style?
Yeah,
so there's a Persona one of that being made. There was a very short trailer that they released, so I could see, but that's it. That's all they've shown. I could see more of that. Royal, sure, they could show some more because they've kind of been
another English trailer, because we haven't gotten one since E3, and that's the only English trailer we've gotten. So that I think is
you guys need to buff up your Japanese.
Is likely.
I've been trying. It's hard.
I have Duolingo on here. I was trying. After Sega, Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VIII Remaster. Square Enix always has about 8,000 projects in the works, but we do know that the Avengers...
That's what I was going to say.
They were supposed to release that gameplay footage that was at Comic-Con a week after Gamescom. Jeff Keighley, I wonder if he went over and said, "Hey, I know y'all were going to say a week later, but how about a day early?
How about just now? How about just now?
I sure hope he was able to convince him. so that we actually know what's going on with Avengers.
Right, because everyone who's seen it at E3 was like, it was completely mixed. No two people agreed on, oh man, Hulk looked awesome. No, Hulk looked like garbage. But let me tell you about Black Widow. It all looked awful. It all
Black
looked
Widow
great.
looked like a hot mess.
Yeah.
No, is Cap alive? Is he dead? Why is there a statue of him? But why is he available in the game?
So many
why
questions.
Is he like the top listed voice actor for the game? What is going on?
Hopefully we'll know more about it. And that could be a thing. That could be a thing where they play a little damage control. It's like, hey, we're going to just show you more stuff. Boom. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Square, always a wild card. Sony Interactive Entertainment, this was the first thing we went over.
Yeah.
They could show Last of Us. We know Kojima's there, so we guarantee Death Stranding. It actually says he will give an exclusive preview of Death Stranding, so we know that's there for sure.
And Death Stranding was coming out this year?
November.
It comes out November, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, he'll be there for that.
That's confirmed. THQ Nordic, again, they're just too big.
There's too many studios available at Gamescom that could blindside us with anything they wanted to.
Ubisoft, I want Gods and Monsters.
Hopefully they'll show some more of that, because at E3 it was just a little...
it was a little trailer, no
gameplay, no nothing.
It gives us an idea of what the vibe's going to be, but really nothing else. Watch Dogs, Legion has to be there. It's... it takes place in London. I feel like with the Euro vibe, it's got to be there.
Yeah, I could see them trying to do Watch Dogs, expanding more on what they mean, that it's literally limitless people you can play as. Because that was one of the most compelling parts and also one of the most confusing. What do you mean you can play as anyone?
Anyone.
You can play as anyone. Okay, but what does that mean, and how does that work?
That one's... I want to see more of that. I want to see...
I don't think we'll see anything like Assassin's Creed from them this time.
Nope. I think Ghost Recon John Bernthal edition is there, and I'm only saying that because I am forgetting the actual name because there's too many damn Ghost Recons. Breakpoint, sure.
Well, all you need to know is it's John friggin' Bernthal.
Yeah,
and so
John Bernthal. I don't know if they've officially put his dog in there. They should, because that was a good choice, guys. And last but least, Xbox Game Studio.
Hey, watch yourself. Watch yourself, Kenny.
Yeah, for sure we're getting Gears. I really want to see some more of Ori. Will of the Wisps. I think that has to be there. That would be... I think that's what I want to see most out of Xbox.
I could see Microsoft
sure.
having game studios having one, if not a couple, world premieres.
I could honestly see them having, letting their indie games, the ones that they totally flashed over during E3, I could see letting a few of the key ones have the stage this time and saving any really big news for Xbox for E3 next year.
How many of those were actually Xbox Game Studios, and how many of those were just indie developers that they convinced to let them have exclusivity rights?
See, I mean,
do you think they'll count it as that? If it's an exclusive?
I mean, that's what I'm wondering, and I would think they would call that stuff ID at Xbox. I think Ori is officially in-house, and Gears is of course officially in-house. So I gotta say, I think, and it does say they're gonna have a bunch of indie announcements as well. But I'm not gonna try to predict.
I mean, and that could be the Xbox game studios. Well.
Because Xbox for the past 2 years now has said that was their greatest acquisition, is trying to get indie developers up onto the main part. I mean, that's part of their Game Pass and their Xbox Ultimate. They're trying to make that more available. So I could see them trying to do that here. At E3, they let the indie developers have the 2 seconds or the frame of this is our game.
This is our game.
But they wanted E3 to have their heavy hitting, we know it's going to make money kind of stuff. So I could see them saying hey, these are kind of the indie games we have in development from the developers we trust that are probably going to make us, that are probably going to do well, that we think you'll enjoy. So this is what you can get with Xbox. I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
I could see them pushing that and not really releasing anything past maybe Ori and Gears 5.
And I think that's safe too. everyone wants to see more Ori. That's what, February, if I remember right. It's a little bit of ways, but at the same time, people want to see more of what it looks like now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Especially after like the upgrade that it had between E3s. Like they showed it at 2018, and it was like, oh yeah, it's Ori. Hell yeah, I'm down. And they showed it at E3 2019. It's like, whoa, that's the same game? What?
Yeah, sorry, just as I'm thinking of kind of like E3, which studio was doing Eden Song?
Elden Ring?
Elden Ring.
That's From Software.
From Software. I don't think that they'll show anything on that.
Nope.
I was gonna say, I couldn't remember which studio.
I could see at TGS them showing some stuff.
Even then,
but
I don't.
I think it's too early.
I don't. I think they have nothing done on that game.
Yeah.
Was there any other games at E3 that we got glimpses of? That we might see more?
Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters. I'm hoping there'll be something like that, just because the trailer was a little more fleshed out. So hopefully there's a game behind that. But I don't know, man. It's always exciting when they're like 15 new announcements at least, right? I hope it's some cool stuff. I'm always, not that I don't enjoy the indie games, and I do very much, but it's always a little bit of a letdown when it's like, yeah, and then here's this, and it's like,
here's 15 exclusives, and they're all worth $15 each instead of
indie game, and I'm like, this is cool, and I'll definitely check this out, but it's that excitement of like, oh yeah, from Capcom or from Activision, the studio that you like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen the last game that this studio made in years or whatever. It's like, boom, here's this big thing. That's what's cool.
And I really want to touch on one studio that is not on that list, but I think they could do something at Gamescom, if not opening night live. CD Projekt Red. Ooh, let's go. Because, okay, so last year they released the actual footage around PAX West, and so we are still a few weeks away from that. But they usually do go out to Gamescom. They're, of course, a European studio. They like being there. That is their home show, technically. So I could see something coming out of that. But again,
they could show more. Yeah,
they could show more. They could have another trailer up their sleeve. They could just say, hey, remember Keanu Reeves is in our game, and that's enough.
Well, they could show actually like gameplay, because I know people saw gameplay, but none of that stuff.
Well, and it could be the same game plan as last year, because they're supposed to have that gameplay at PAX as well, I believe.
I sure hope, like, at least in a part of their trailer, if they do any text, it's like, enjoy a world that is breathtaking, you know,
right,
just something like that. I feel like that would be perfect, and that would make CD Projekt Red probably like just my favorite company, just for like that one thing, just throwing it back.
And I mean, CG Projekt Red is known for being very mobile and agile with that stuff, so could be. They have a heck of a sense of humor. All right, real quick before we wrap up the show, one prediction that you think is rock solid that is not announced yet. One prediction out of left field that you just would love to see. Felipe, you start.
I don't know. From anyone?
From anyone that could be there, the rock solid one, anyone that could be there, and then the left field, just I would really get hype if I seen it.
See, that's the crazy thing, is that part of me wants to, and it's going to be a cop-out answer, and I am sorry, but we're right at the cusp of a new generation. So any trade show, you know, being E3, being this, being TGS, until the new machines get announced, I feel like a lot of studios are already working on next-gen stuff, but they can't talk about it until the console manufacturer officially announces their stuff. Right. No one's going to talk about whatever they're making for Project Scarlet or for the PS5 until this console is officially announced.
So you don't see a situation that happened with the first Watch Dogs where it was the first next-gen game announced. You don't see someone saying, and next-gen consoles.
Well, I mean, they did that with, I was going to say that, like, with Cyberpunk, that they kind of talked, or people that saw it were like, no, this is a next-gen thing for sure.
Right.
And I was surprised when they're like, no, yeah, it's coming out for the current generation. But I don't know. That's the thing, is like we were talking about before, how there's true Sony exclusive games. You know, there's like that we don't know when it's coming out, which is Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. You know, but there's got to be so many other games. So my pseudo prediction out of kind of left field is that we're gonna get Sony exclusive, like big game announced. That's gonna be coming out before the PS5. That is my big kind of out of left field prediction. Is that there is gonna be something that Sony's gonna announce, because as it stands right now, what do we have?
Just kind of like the last hurrah of like this. This will be the game that you remember on the PS4.
Or I wouldn't even go that far.
I wouldn't go that far, because I feel like that's got to be Last of Us 2.
Will be like this is the PS4 exclusive.
We're gonna repeat that history with the PS3.
Not even Spider-Man.
No, the last hurrah, the best game on the PS4 is currently God of War. So I can go ahead and take that out for you. But yeah,
I can see,
Last of Us 2.
or at least that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for some big Sony. Doesn't have to be exclusive, you know, but like some big game that Sony's the one that's going to be, you know, announcing like, okay, this is the next big thing coming out. Because right now they don't have anything, and they're just radio silence has been too crazy. They're not doing their PlayStation experience. They
haven't announced that they're not doing PSX this year.
But usually by now we would know.
No.
You sure?
The last one was announced in like September for December.
I usually feel like they announce
we're
this
like
stuff.
a couple of weeks.
We're not far away, but I mean, it's not unusual for them to not announce. And they didn't announce that they weren't having one last year again until like September, August.
I still think
I'm
playing my flag on the PlayStation. At least something. That's what I'm hoping.
I gotta go with Felipe. I mean, they've been radio silence on like what PlayStation has been having to offer for like way too long. It's been too long, and they've got to keep their momentum up, because like if you ask pretty much anyone, PS4 has been winning the console war versus the Xbox One. And it's been great, and I say that as an Xbox fanboy. But they've had great games coming out. They've had awesome stuff that they've done, and so I think if they wanted to keep that and to keep Xbox on their toes and to keep ahead of like most consoles sold, most exclusives sold, they have to do something big. Otherwise, because it's, you know, in not too long, they're not just going to be competing with just Xbox. They've got Stadia. Nintendo's coming out swinging with the Switch. They're trying to do more with their third parties. So, like, I think they'll want to do something.
Speaking of before we get to yours, speaking of the Switch, do you think Nintendo shows?
I don't know if Nintendo will show up.
One, do they show? And if they do, anything new, do you think?
I honestly think they might wait just for TGS.
I mean, if anything, maybe show off some more of the Astral Chain, because that's another game that the embargo recently went up on that we're seeing a lot of previews for.
A lot of very positive previews for it, I've seen.
Yes, so. I'm very excited. I need to get my Joy-Con fixed so that I can play that game. All right, my rock solid, I think this is going to happen prediction is I think Gods and Monsters is there. It is Ubisoft, and they go out on it because everyone's seen that trailer, and they were super hype. My out of left field, sure, maybe one day this could happen, is I'm rocking with Power Stone.
Really? Okay.
I am, just because they're talking, like, I don't know. I imagine that was actually just him saying, you know, it would actually be really good, but it would be really cool if it was like, oh yeah, Power Stone is coming to Switch. I don't care if it's a port. I don't care if it's a port from the Dreamcast. Just give me some damn Power Stone.
We'll see. I mean, this is what's exciting. This is why I love, you know, like the lead up to E3 and then the disappointment at E3.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You get hyped up and in your head you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna announce this thing. It's gonna be awesome, and you're like, well, it was okay.
I mean, yeah, my out of left field thing, it was. It might not. It probably ain't gonna happen.
I mean, I feel like PlayStation's gonna do the rock solid, but my out of left field is that we see something about Halo.
Okay.
From Xbox, like I could see them doing the indies, and then they're just like, yeah, and here's more about Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
But that I don't. If they did it, awesome. That's great. But yeah,
okay. I'll throw my hope then.
Oh yeah, I want to.
My hope is, or it's stuff that I want to know more about. If I had to pick one. The new Tales game.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. So
cool.
If they show me something like that, I'll be happy.
Right. Well, hey, what are you hoping to see at Gamescom? What do you think for sure is happening? Let us know in the comments. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Really helps us out. We really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Kenny.
I'm Sterling.
I'm Felipe.
Next time.